All right, welcome back to season 3 of our show, and today it's Boston butt. We're going to show you how to turn this into a beautiful Mexican lasagna, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so it's Boston butt today, and we're just going to show you how to get this done. Now we're making a signature dish today with this Boston butt. Now most people take a Boston butt like this and they usually put it on the smoker. You rarely see this cooked the normal way anymore because everybody wants to smoke this down and make pulled pork, but there's so many things that you can do with this piece of meat. Today we're showing you a Mexican lasagna. So bay leaves, garlic, onions, I got some chopped here and some whole. Now in here I have a mix. Now this is a special spice rub. I got red chili flakes, pepper, oregano, garlic powder, paprika, cumin powder, onion powder, black pepper, and turmeric. Now if you look right here, you can see everything that's in here. And what I did was I make my own spices. There's no salt in here, and just drop them all in. And these are the amounts, so you can see what we're using here. So I got a little oregano on the bottom. That's onion powder, paprika, cumin. There's the garlic powder on the top. Got some oregano in there and just a splash of turmeric in there too. So you'll take it, just mix it up, just like that. And use one of the old bottles that you have around. Like this was an old garlic container I had. So it's probably years old because I keep making my own rubs. And just keep mixing it up. See that? And when you see all your colors look like that, then you know you got it mixed up pretty good. So we're showing you this dish in stages. And the first thing we're going to do is season this meat. Now we're going in the pressure cooker with this today because we want to fast cook. And we don't want to sit around for 12 hours and wait for this thing to be done. So if you put this in the oven or in your smoker, it's going to be about 12 hours, 10 hours minimum. If you're cooking really fast, it's going to be tough and you'll get it done in about 8. But today we're showing you how to get this done and have it juicy and tender at the same time. All right. So rub on. Now this is a little bit different from putting this on a smoker. If you put this on a smoker, you'll put your rub on like that and you'll take it like this and you'll get it into the smoker. But here, we're going in the pressure cooker with this, and this is 8 pounds. So into the pressure cooker it goes. All of this seasoning that I have here on the board, this is gonna go with it. So I'm just gonna get that seasoning in there because I can. So what I'll do is this, drop some water in here. Now I put a little water at the bottom. I'm gonna put just a little bit more. I'm going to bring it up to my water level line, my max line. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to my max line is because I want to make a broth. All right, let's put a little bit more of that powder in here, that mixture that we just made. And I'm just going to work it in because I don't want the powder sitting on top. So we want to just work that in. And now that it's worked in, we're good to go. All right, so I want just a little bit above the max line because now I want to put some things in. So I want to chop an onion. I'm chopping it like this, and I'm just going to put some onion in there. Whole garlic cloves, just like this. They're going in. You don't want to go above the max line on the cooker because it's not good. It could explode on you, and that's not good. All right, so just like that, I'm going to add some salt to this because there's no salt to the rub. I can always salt after, but I want to just put a touch in there just to season that. And there we have it. So I'm just gonna use my knife in here because I have it available. I'm just gonna move everything around. That's it. And here we go. So it's 8 pounds. I'm gonna cook this for about an hour and a half on a pressure cooker. So 8 pounds, an hour and a half, if you were cooking this in like your oven or if you braised it, I mean, you're talking a minimum on the stovetop, 3.5, 4 hours, maybe even longer. So we're gonna go the max on this cooker, and then we're gonna meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so our meat is out of the pressure cooker, and an hour and a half, it was perfect. So this is what you're gonna need from here. So our meat's cooling, it's in a bowl. You're gonna need another vessel, and then we've got a strainer here. And I'll show you what to do with this in just a second. So first thing we're gonna do is get our bone out of here. So if you did this correctly, there's your bone. It's right out here. I'm just gonna leave it in here for now. And now you can take all this nice meat. I'm just gonna put it over here. Let's drag this in. And just start pulling it apart. Look how juicy that is. If you notice, it just falls right apart. I'm gonna take the bay leaves that are in here. Just gonna take everything out of here. Because what we're gonna do is strain this nice, beautiful sauce. This gravy that's in here. I'm just gonna strain that right into here. And then we're gonna have our pieces. So we're just gonna pull this and then shred it. And any kind of fat that you see in here that's not really broken down, if you like fat, you can save it. If not, just put it right off to the side. So just pull this right apart. And just feel around for any kind of fatty pieces in here. Or any kind of bone, which you're not going to find any bone. But if your butcher cut this incorrectly, you might find a piece of bone in here. So always feel around. And speaking of bone, always rinse your meat. I know these guys out here will tell you not to rinse your meat, but always rinse your meat, because when you cut meat, you guys that aren't familiar for cutting meat, but I own a saw, a meat saw, and it's in my garage. I cut my meats, you get little bone fragment that fragment on the meat, and I rinse all the meat, because if you get those bone fragments in there and the meat's not rinsed, or let's just say the butcher drops it on the floor accidentally and picks it back up without you knowing this, you might get dirt inside your food or glass or who knows. So always rinse your meat, and I always rinse mine. So don't listen to those guys out there that tell you pat it dry and don't rinse your meat. It's insane. So always rinse your meat. All right, so we got this. I'm just gonna pull this apart a little bit more. I try not to shred it to death because I want some substance in here, and I don't want to turn this into 9 lives. So we're not feeding any cats. Not today anyway. But if I want to feed cats, I got a few of those down the block. And I can feed them the scraps that come off of here. So any kind of fat, just feel around, feel it out, and you should be stuck with some pretty good meat. And that's how you kind of want to do that. Just like that. And have good meat in there. All right, so now we got that. We're going to take our strainer, and I'm going to feel around. Well, here's a nice big chunk of meat. We're going to put that in there. And I'm going to take all of my onions, put them in here, my onions, my garlic, anything that's floating in here. Another nice piece of meat. I'm going to just put that in there. And now that you have everything in here, just crush it with your hand, just like that. See that? And it's just going to strain right down in there, and you don't throw away all those nice goodies in there. All that garlic will crush right down, just like that. And then you'll just pour a little liquid through the strainer, and it's right in there. And we'll empty the rest of this out. But I just wanted to show you this, and that's how you'll have it, like that. Now, what I'm going to do is just take my bone, just lay it in here. And I'm going to start to strain right into here. Everything goes in the strainer. See all that nice garlic in there? Now I'll take my bowl and just put it back. And here you go again. We'll just strain right down in there. Take the bay leaves out and just strain all that goodness right in there. Just like that. And now when you mash it down like that, just take it, dump it right in. That's it. So now everything is strained. I'm going to go like this, clean my strainer out, and we are good to go. All right, we're going to show you what to do from here and get the lasagna part of this together, and we'll meet you right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we put this in the refrigerator, and I put it in overnight. I decided to go overnight with it so I can show you guys something. So usually I would skim all the fat off the top of here, and I was going to show you that. Then I figured, you know what, it's going to be an easier way just to let this stay in the fridge overnight and show you that all that fat on top just came to the top. So what you'll do is just take a spoon like this, and you can just get all that fat right off the top of there. Into a bowl it goes. So if you don't want all that grease and fat in your food, you can just do it just like this. And you can leave as much or as little behind if you want, because that's some flavor in there too that you're removing. So I'm just going to get this out of here. And I'm just skimming through the top. There's no meat in there. And it's an easy way how to do this. And just get a bunch of fat. See that piece of meat? We'll just get in there. And just get a bunch of fat out of your food. There it is. Just like that. I'm going to leave a little bit of that fat in there. And you can see it right around there. And the fat that's left behind, well, that just added flavor. Okay, so we got that set to the side here. Now, you're gonna need some onions. I got some tomato paste here, and you're gonna need a pot. Onto the stove we go. All right, so we got some fat in the pan here, the pot. And this was the fat that we took off the top of the meat that we have over here. So, first thing we'll do is we're gonna cook out some of the water that's in there and just use the same fat. So I'm gonna put my onion in. Get a good amount of the onion in. I think I'm going to use all of them. There we have it. And you're going to want to cook those down. And now as you're cooking your onion down, you want to get in some tomato paste. This is going to thicken what we have here. Now the nice part about this dish is all of this that's here, you don't have to use it at one time. You could freeze some, because that's a whole pork butt. You can save some for another day, and you don't have to make all of it in one shot. So it's a great thing to set some off to the side and just make as much as you need for the evening or for how many people you're going to feed. So that's our tomato paste that we got in there. And we're just going to bring the oils out of it. Cook that down just a little bit. Bring some flavor out of it. That's how you want that. And now, it's time to bring in our meat. So here we go. Right in there. So when we pulled it, and you saw how loose it was, now it's turning back into that. So I'm just gonna get all this in here. Or half of it anyway. And then the other half I could freeze. And I think that's about enough for what we're doing with it. Now let's just give it a mix. Now that tomato paste is gonna tighten things up for you. And now it's coming together. And this is the sauce for a Mexican lasagna. So we're gonna get a little heat on here. We're not gonna make it super hot, but we're gonna make it enough to work with because it's going in the oven anyway. And then when we do that, we'll meet you back here. So stick around, don't go anywhere. Okay, so we are ready to assemble this. Our meat sauce is all done. So let's show you what we got to do here. So I got my cheese here. I got two different types, cheddar cheese. I got some orange, I got some white. Here's our sauce. Now over here, I've got some tomatoes, some scallions, and some jalapenos. Now I'm gonna put some jalapenos in now, but I'm not gonna put too many because I like fresh jalapeno on top afterwards. So if you have guests coming and they don't like hot things, what I'm about to do right now, you might not wanna do that and just put those afterwards. All right, so let's assemble this. So let's get some sauce in here. Always start from the center and work your way out because it just pushes easier to the edge. So I'm just gonna do this, work my way out. Now our oven's heating up right now. It's at 375. That's the temperature you want to put that oven to. And use a ladle like this because you could use the back of it and just much better to do that. So I've been doing this for a while now, so for me, it's pretty easy. So if you just work the center and push your way out, you can't go wrong. And just like that. Now this is going to be our bottom layer. And any light spots, just kind of fill them in. See, like that. Now you're all done. So let's get some corn tortillas in. So these are the corn. I'm going to layer them just like this. Kind of push them to the ends there, and one in the middle. So two to the sides. Get them as close to the end as you can, and one in the middle there. And just start layering just like that. This is a dish I kind of made up on my own. And the nice thing about stuff like this, you can get very creative with it. So if you have some things lying around the house, you want to use it up, you go right ahead. All right, so let's just get these in. And you can do this with lasagna and a bunch of different things. I think I'm gonna put a layer there in the middle and more on the side too. Just for our first layer, because I want the bottom of this to have some substance and be able to hold up. So we'll go like that. And now we got a bunch of those on the bottom. Now we're gonna sauce again. And just view it out. View your layers out and see where you're at. Now because you got all that down the bottom, it's gonna make the sides well taken care of in case you're running light on sauce. So just make sure you judge it out and look at all that meat in there. So this thing is definitely not shy of any kind of meat and skimpy on the meat now. So you don't want to go skimpy on the meats. All right, now we got that in. Let's go in with our cheese. I'm just gonna do two at one shot, just to mix it in there. Just like that. Now the jalapeno I'm gonna save for the top, but I'm gonna make sure I have enough cheese on here. And again, just kind of feel it out. Watch your pile and see where you're going. All right, so I'm gonna go about there, and then I'm gonna keep layering. So we're gonna layer this up a couple more times, and right before it goes in the oven, we're going to meet you right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we got our Mexican lasagna all ready now. There's 3 layers in here. Now, the last layer I put on top, I just want very light with it, and I pressed the corn tortillas inside this just to soak up that moisture that's on top of there. So what I'll do from here is I'm gonna take some jalapenos. Just gonna slice a couple of these guys. And like I was saying, put a few on just half of this, or a quarter of it, because if people don't like jalapenos, you got a shot to correct it. They can just have half of this lasagna. I'm gonna go a little bit more. And that's it. So let's finish off the rest of our cheese. Just make sure you get a good layer on there. Make it even. Now this is going to bake in the oven at about 375 degrees like we said, and you're going to go about 30-35 minutes with this one, depending on your layers. And just check it to your doneness. There it is. All right, I think I'm just going to use up all this nice cheese that's on here. Make sure it's nice and evenly spread out, especially around the edges on the ends here, because that's where you're going to lift it from. So make sure you get the edges nice and cheesy in there. And this way it's just going to fold in there and it'll seal the edges for you, and you'll be able to lift it nice and easy. All right, here we go. All right, 375 in the oven, 30 to 35 minutes, and we'll meet you right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right. This is a big boy. All right, here we are, season 3's chopping block. Pulled pork, Mexican lasagna. Let's show you what we got. All right, look at that. All right, let's get into this. Now, I think I'm gonna just cut a corner out of here. So I'm gonna go in like this. You wanna use a serrated knife, because something like a steak knife like this one, because it's just gonna cut a lot better. And just go right down to the bottom. And just clear off the ends. All right, and let's pull this out of here. And plate up. Bring over our plate. Look at that, beautiful. That's how you want that. I'm just gonna turn this around for you guys so you can see that and see all those layers in there. Let's just slide this back just a little bit in here, make it even. All right, let's decorate this guy up. So what I like on mine, I'm gonna go with a little bit more jalapeno. Now that side had the jalapenos. I didn't use the jalapenos on this side. You see here, this side has all the jalapenos. So for those of you guys that don't eat jalapenos, if you make half of this the normal way and half of them with the jalapenos, you can't go wrong. So I got the jalapenos on there. I'm gonna take a little sour cream and just go on part of that, like that. Take a couple of nice tomatoes. And we'll just go like that. Let a couple of those just fall right down into the plate. And some right on there, just like that. Go on a little scallion. Now I love the plate up like this because it's a beautiful presentation, and if anything falls down in there, it just leads for a better presentation. Okay, and then now we got a couple of limes that we're just going to put on the side here, just to have that served with lime. And what goes better on top of this with a little Mexican hot sauce. So we're just going to drop a little bit right on top of there, just like that. Gotta have the hot sauce. All right, let's give this a taste. Look at that, beautiful. I'm gonna spin this around and just give this one a taste. Tomato in there. Wow, that is outstanding. It tastes so fresh, rich. Tomatoes on there, everything fresh. Just use all fresh ingredients and you're not gonna go wrong with this one. All right, we're gonna get organized and we're gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. Boston butt pulled pork Mexican lasagna. Not gonna go wrong with this one. Fast, easy, right to the point. Now we serve that in a cast iron just to keep that authenticity. Right on the side with some fresh tomato, scallion, jalapeno, and a little lime to top that off. And if you like this video and more videos about to come, don't forget to give a like, hit that bell, this way you guys get all those videos first. Thank you, we enjoyed you coming, and until the next time. Gotta get another one of those Pitmaster tastes there.